Greetings friends, it's Zera, back with another video. Today we'll be analyzing the GIANTSTALKER vs DRAGONSTALKER debate. But before we do, let's roll that intro. Alright, so today I want to touch on something a lot of people were asking me about in my Phase 3 BIS video, which you can check out over here. It's worth pointing out that some people don't believe that GIANTSTALKER is strong by comparison to DRAGONSTALKER. And if you're with that crowd, awesome. I applaud your willingness to stand by your own opinion, and I encourage you to check out the community Discord below. There we have many discussions on topics like this one, and it makes us better hunters every day. And on that point, let's discuss which is better, Tier 1 or Tier 2. Now, if you've seen my previous video, you would know that I tend to lean towards GIANTSTALKER. My reasoning for it's quite simple, but let's just start with the basics. Why is there even a debate? Shouldn't Tier 2 automatically overtake Tier 1 simply being based on the fact that it's a higher tier? Well, you'd think so, but not everyone agrees. You see, the debate hadn't really been in the forefront of people's minds until the surfacing of private servers, long after vanilla had come and gone. And for private server enthusiasts, even the slightest discussion, the tiniest conversation, created an exciting opportunity to test different tactics. Because remember, private servers were not very good for people looking for in-game progression. There were no expansion packs or additional features to look forward to. Once you came to the end of that server's lifespan, it was more or less time to move on to another one. And if you were lucky enough, the admins might offer you a character transfer or a soft reset, but it just wasn't the same. So after a while, these same people began to ask the question, am I doing everything I can? Is there more to this equation? Have I really reached my peak? Is there anything else I can do to improve? And so the analysis of various armor sets, weapons, talents, professions, items, consumables, routes, markets, and other in-game numbers was born. This led to the birth of what many of us would come to call min-maxers. These are the individuals who want to make the most out of their characters, whether it's in PvE, PvP, gold farming, auction housing, etc. So now the question becomes, where the hell does the debate between GIANTSTALKER and DRAGONSTALKER come into play? Well, for hunters, it's eerily noticeable how our DPS begins to stagnate at around the same time from when we transition from BWL and ZG into AQ and NAX. Some might even argue that it occurs before that, but the primary purpose for the argument is to say GIANTSTALKER is better because its set bonus has a more immediate impact on our overall damage, as opposed to DRAGONSTALKER, since DRAGONSTALKER solely depends on how frequent exposed weakness procs on a single encounter, and GIANTSTALKER's set bonus is not dependent on any factors other than, can you hit the target? Plus, it's even further improved by the barrage talent that achieves the same effect. So, for us to get a clear picture of what this looks like, let's take a deep dive into the numbers together, starting with, of course, GIANTSTALKER. We see the 3-piece set bonus buffs our min pet. Now, this is not a huge benefit, but it's not bad for those of us farming out in the open world or in dungeons. Moving on to the 5-piece set bonus, we see a nice little bump here to our pet's overall survival. Both higher stamina and spell resistances, very nice in both PvE and PvP settings. But it's here where we find ourselves in a pickle. The 8-piece set bonus offers us an increased 15% damage to multi-shot. It also buffs volley, but I don't think anybody's bragging about that. Alright though, given the fact that multi-shot is one of our 4 largest factors in our overall damage, the other 3 being auto shot, aim shot, and our pet's damage, this seems significant. And what's even better about it is the enhancement it receives from our barrage talent. It scales incredibly well as a marksmanship hunter. But alright then, if that's GIANTSTALKER and what it has to offer, where does DRAGONSTALKER stack up? Well, let's look and see where Tier 2 differs from Tier 1. Starting with DRAGONSTALKER's 3-piece set bonus, where Tier 1 only really offered a situationally useful tool for our pet, here we have a 20% increase to Aspect of the Hawk. Granted, 20% doesn't seem like a lot, but if you do the math, especially once we get to the higher ranks of Aspect of the Hawk later on in Classic's lifespan, this is huge. Granted, the Hawk is already achieving and having an impact without this benefit, but there's a difference between 110 or 120 versus 132 or 144 bonus ranged attack power. This is a huge win here over Giantstalker. There's also a possibility that we might, I say might, be able to exploit the set bonus if it allows us to snapshot Aspect of the Hawk and then simply re-equip 8 of 8 Giantstalker. It's highly unlikely that this will be allowed, and if it does end up occurring, it likely won't stay in the game for long. But if it does, then this set bonus is more or less negated then. Moving on. Now, the 5-piece set bonus is a small upgrade over Giantstalker and what it offers. As you can see, it's the same as before, but the numbers are slightly bigger. Okay, that's cool. Always nice to have bigger numbers. But now we get into the bread and butter of Dragonstalker. The 8-piece set bonus for Tier 2 grants us access to a nifty little buff, or debuff, depending on how you want to see it, called Exposed Weakness. Now this enhances the range attack power of all attackers against the afflicted target by, I believe, 450 for 7 seconds. That is enormous. You're talking about a window of opportunity that allows an endless number of hunters to unload everything they got on a single target for 7 seconds, in which they have been awarded a buff to their damage equivalent to 3 additional max rank true shot ores. Just let that sink in for a second. Imagine how much damage a group of hunters can do in a 7-second window like that, especially if they pop cooldowns like Rapid Fire, Badge of the Swarm Guard, Kiss of the Spider, anything. You know what? Let's take this a bit deeper. Looking at the range attack power of a hunter wearing current pre-raid BIS versus a hunter in full-on, completely decked out, best of the best, Phase 6, Cryptstalker. As those of you with a keen eye will notice, I went crazy with this. You wouldn't wear a lot of this stuff by the end of the game, but I wanted to see just how much range attack power I could muster. And even with going all out with Tier 3, getting range attack power from everywhere I possibly could, the difference between Tier 3, Cryptstalker, and pre-raid BIS is still less than 450 ranged attack power. That's crazy. I'm just saying, Dragonstalker clearly seems better on the surface when compared to Giantstalker. But, oh wait, let's dig a little deeper and ask an interesting question. Suppose only one hunter wore Dragonstalker. Suppose that everyone else was sporting Giantstalker. Suppose also that the 15% damage bonus to multi-shot was scaled to be 450 ranged attack power stronger. Now suppose that was done for multiple hunters in a single encounter where the exposed weakness debuff were to proc 4 or 5, half dozen times throughout the course of a fight. Man, that hurts me just thinking about it. I mean, what better way to have a bigger impact on a hunter's stagnant DPS than to allow him to mix the best of both tier sets, right? And thus, you have your debate. Now, there's several variables we don't have on hand, and it's disappointing that Classic doesn't have its own PTR so that we can test these sorts of things out. But once P3 is released and we have some tangible data to compare, then we'll be able to make more of a concrete decision on the matter. For example, here's some questions. How often does the exposed weakness debuff proc? Is its cooldown tied to that specific hunter internally? Or does the proc only occur so many times a minute regardless of how many hunters are utilizing 8 of 8 Dragonstalker? Does even having more than 1 or 2 hunters wearing full 8 of 8 T2 even make much sense? Sadly, there's really no way of knowing until we're there and we have the evidence in our hands to know for sure. Simply put, there's no need in any of us pulling out our hair trying to solve or answer the equation. Especially for those of us that don't have a whole lot to spare. But anyway, that's it. There you have it. That's the supposed debate between which is better for Tier 1 and Tier 2. Personally, I like GIANTSTALKER because it offers me better itemization for hit and more consistent damage to multi-shot. But that's just me. You're totally welcome to disagree with me or offer your own opinion on the matter anytime on my Twitch stream, the link for which you can find below. I'm always available there to answer any questions or have any friendly debates over the Hunter class in context of both Classic and Retail. Speaking of debates, though, there's no debate how amazing SkillShare is. SkillShare is my go-to platform to learning a new skill and improving on and further developing skills I've already acquired. Currently, I'm enjoying the classes for Adobe Premiere offered by Philly Biner, and you can access those classes and much more for 2 months free with the link below. Well, guys, that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to check out all the links below for various social media sites and all that other good stuff. I want to say thank you to my various patrons and Twitch subscribers. You guys are the ones who are helping me and my wife pay the bills, and I cannot thank y'all enough. Thanks for watching today's footage. I pray everyone have a wonderful rest of your week, and I'll be seeing you in the next video. Zera out.